if the people you associate with are terrible at this, but the machine that you interact with is good at it,
Yes.
yeah, you're going to start leaning towards the machine.
Oh, you are. I'm just not saying that's a good thing.
Welcome again to It Doesn't Take a Genius, conversation with introspective perspectives and pithy points of view. Here are your hosts, my friends, Max and Marty.
I think that's Mark and Mike.
Yeah, whatever.
Ramsey!
Marshall, great to see you again. And hopefully, I've been working on my lighting. So we haven't even talked about it. Usually we have like a half-hour dialogue about how pasty I look because of my lighting. I think I got it fixed a little bit. So,
Yeah.
I don't know.
I gave up talking about it because I'm pretty sure it's genetic.
Well, it is. Very, very true.
Yeah.
Very,
You
very
change all the environmental things you want. It's like, no, I'm just a pasty human being. And I can say that because, yeah, I'm a pale-faced guy myself. So, yeah, just like the melanin or whatever we need to look like a human
Right.
being. It's
Sounds
not
about
good.
right.
Yeah. Speaking of looking like human beings,
Ooh,
we
nice.
are diving back into the old AI conversation once again. And for those of you who haven't been paying attention, it's taking over the world. So, yeah, more and more places I go, it's being talked about, it's being utilized. And so you ran across a great post that we definitely had some differences of opinion about the utilization of this tool and where it's ultimately going. And
Right.
yeah, is this a net plus or a net negative?
Yeah.
So what'd you find?
Yeah, we'll see where this conversation goes. We definitely are of different opinions on this, but this is a post from Christopher Penn on LinkedIn. He is the co-founder and chief data scientist at trustinsights.ai. There's your little clue right there that he might be involved in artificial intelligence. But it's
and trust.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think it's meant to say that you can trust his data analytics because they provide data analytics for marketers. But anyway, he says one of the hidden joys of ChatGPT, the ability to write the memo you really want to send and then have it write the memo you should send. So we got version 1 and version 2, the one you should send. So I'll read version 1, the one he really wanted to send.
All right. So version 1, we anticipate that the writer is in amygdala hijack.
That is correct.
Fight, flight, or freeze mode. This probably has a fight mode email. And I'm assuming just based upon it that it was written by pushing the keys on the keyboard very hard and very fast.
Correct. After being asked a question that I did not want to be asked in the accounting department here. And it'll be self-explanatory as I read it. And we will obviously, I'm not going to say the cuss words, but I think, you know what, I'll probably go find a little bleep signal to use when I edit this thing together. I think that'll be appropriate. Anyway, the prompt is rewrite the following memo in a professional tone. And here's the memo. Bob, you sent over 2 months of invoices in one day. Of course it's not done. It's not going to be done anytime soon because this takes time. And if you needed it sooner, you shouldn't have let it sit on your desk for 2 weeks. You can F right now off and you'll get it when you get it. Go with yourself, Karen in accounting.
And the author thought this needed a rewrite.
The author apparently had a good enough thought that maybe this won't be well received.
Yeah.
Let me try again.
This could go poorly. And so, they feed us into AI. And here's the rewrite. Dear Bob, I hope this message finds you well. I wanted to reach out regarding the recent batch of invoices you sent over. Unfortunately, due to the volume of invoices received in one day, it will take some time to process them all. I understand that you may have urgent needs, but it's important to note that accounting tasks require sufficient time and attention to ensure accuracy and completeness. I apologize for any inconvenience this delay may have caused you. In the future, please ensure to submit invoices in a timely manner as this will help us to better manage our workload and avoid any unnecessary delays. Oh,
Oh, you got to keep going.
oh, I don't have the rest
Oh,
of it.
the rest of it is thank you for your understanding and cooperation. Sincerely, Karen in accounting.
Oh, understanding and appreciation. Yeah. All right. So here's what I'm really thinking. Here's
Go
what
ahead.
AI is saying is a career-saving modification, right?
Yeah.
Potentially career-saving modification to my original writing. All right. So what got fascinating about this is when you start to read the comments
Right.
under his
Right.
post, where people had wildly varying, ideas about this.
Yes, definitely at least two schools of thought, if not more, right?
Yeah. One was, yeah. What if, here's a great example. What if every message we send from this point forward ends up sounding and looking the same?
Right.
Everybody's response feels very AI generated and equally bland, the writer writes. Where does this leave humanity? Do people become irrelevant?
Right.
Right, like, wow, that's pretty deep thoughts for an email rewrite.
Yeah, that's a little further over than even I would go. I have concerns about AI, but I don't think it's going to replace humanity by sending bland memos for us. I don't see that as a need. But there's another one, and I'm trying to find it as I scan through this page here, but just the idea that wait a minute, the first one actually got to the point.
Yeah.
Right? The first one got to the point. So we almost have a choice here in front of us between truthful and way too antagonistic and blunt, or diplomatic but masking the real issue at hand.
Right. I'm not sure. Yeah, masking or not conveying the pain and discomfort that the other person's experiencing that's having to process all your last minute requests.
Well, I think that, and also you have to do a couple layers of logic thinking before you jump to the conclusion that, oh, wait a minute, she means me. I'm the one that's causing the problem. Yeah. And I could almost end the episode right here, because I just think we should give a little plug for, we've got some episodes about the wonderful field manual for difficult conversations called Crucial Conversations. We did some episodes on that. We've got a great handout for that. And just the idea that maybe Karen in accounting needs to pick up the phone and say, Bob, hey, can we talk? There's something going on here that I think you and I ought to explore, because both of us can get a little closer to what we want if we have this conversation, instead of, in the one case an attack, in the other case a nice little dodge, right? And I'll get back to work, but nothing changes. Nothing in the future changes. Bob is going to keep sending his invoices in batch. I'm going to keep being frustrated right up until I explode. So I think it's worth just saying that, neither of these approaches, I think, really nails what a human being should really do, which is go have a conversation and solve a problem.
Oh, yeah. But we know, right, and we coach that. If it's going to be a difficult conversation or a complicated conversation, put down the email, put down the phone, the text, we talk about that 93% of communication is tone and body language.
Yep.
And 7% is the words you use. So yeah, if all I've got is the words, I've lost out on so much of the context of the message. So yeah, in the absence of that human interaction, one of the writers writes, and here's his whole, so one person wrote that wonderful kind of response, and then this particular reader wrote, but why sugarcoat it?
Right.
So somebody who's a fan of the direct, hit him between the eyes approach, thought the first email was perfectly good.
Yeah, I mean, in some cultures, I'm sure that would have been appropriate. I'm still not sure that getting somebody else an amygdala hijack is going to really help you solve your situation, though, right?
Right.
That's
It
the
it
issue.
it may prompt the face-to-face conversation you were looking for. Yeah, when
Right.
he runs down 3 flights of stairs and bursts into your office going, "Oh yeah, I read your email.
Where do you get off?
What's your deal?" So yeah, it's like, "Oh look, we're humans, interacting face to face.
Yeah.
Look at us."
But I do think removing the, the politeness of the second one doesn't have to also happen at the same time that you remove some of the masking. I don't know a better word for that, just sort of covering up the real point here of, hey, I'm in pain because of what you've done, and for the future we got to fix that. We've sort of talked about it in the third person and then said in the future if you could, I'm not sure that really gets to the heart of the issue the way you'd want to in a crucial conversation. I don't think the first one really gets to the heart of it either, because you've just turned the guy so upside down with your attack that he's not going to really be listening.
Oh yeah. So, but now I'm wondering what if I gave it a follow-up prompt? Write this a little more succinct and speak directly to the problem.
Yeah.
And now it writes a more succinct email, takes out some of the third-party stuff, and says in a more clear fashion without the profanity and emotion, high emotion.
Right.
That yeah, here's what's going on, and here's why it really needs to stop.
I don't think that's bad. You've injected a little humanity into the AI system, which is why, as you pointed out, the prompt writers are going to be the folks who really make money here with ChatGPT and its successors, because they're the ones that are going to be fine tuning this to something that addresses the actual need of the moment instead of a bland response.
Yeah. So yeah, there's someplace in between, and my guess is that the AI overlord could definitely do it. Another writer took a much more philosophical view. Attila, I don't know if that's a real name or not, says, I'd much rather see humans develop the skill to write a decent email. At this rate, we'll devolve into a species that expresses their thoughts in emojis and grunts. I can already see the newer generation struggling with coherent expression of thought.
Yep.
Yeah. So
Yep.
yeah, if I'm a Gen Z, all this email looks like is the face palm emoji.
Right.
I'm gonna send the face palm emoji, and then the emoji that looks like the guy cussing.
Right.
And yeah, I've communicated my pain.
Well, and if this was a conversation in person, and I've seen this happen with several of my clients where they've had a Gen Z employee or a really young millennial get up and leave the room. They cannot handle having that intense of a direct conversation, and they leave the room. So I mean, we're if we rely on ChatGPT, I think we're doing ourselves a real disservice in how we choose to communicate when the chips are down and we have to actually, live and in person come up with what to say. Now here's the thing. She ends with sincerely, right, in the follow-up.
And does that bother you?
Well, I want to play this out, because I think there's a couple schools of thought here too, right? Like, well, that's not sincerely. You had somebody else write it, right? But the flip side is she took the time and care to recraft her message, and she did sincerely perhaps mean that. So I don't, it does not bother me as much as you probably thought it was going to with my, recent, histrionics here. I do think, though, your whole point about, do the Attila saying that, can we communicate? That's the real deal, is getting ourselves to the point where we are human beings connecting with another human being. And for what it's worth, I'm working on a blog post about this, that, classical teachers are having a conversation about this right now, because, hey, any homework you assign, any report that you have to write, could you get ChatGPT to do it just the way the professor wants it done? I'd say you probably could. So what can't be faked if you want to really prove that the human being actually knows what they're talking about and has learned some communication abilities? Well, there's things like memory work that you have to recite in person. So this is a really old-fashioned way to communicate, a recitation. And I won't go into the whole thing. There's a blog post coming, but our best salespeople, Mike, that you and I have dealt with, I think in many cases have this ability to just call up the right data about the product or service and gush about it in front of the customer in the moment. So that's good communication too, right? And it's infectious to hear that enthusiasm rub off. And we talk about it, right? You know it by heart, right? Like you got it deep down inside you. It's not just head knowledge, it's heart knowledge. So I do think that that's going to be a part of this going forward. And for what it's worth, that's what Crucial Conversations is. It's knowing a method for having this kind of conversation by heart, so that you can make sure you hit all the boxes and take care of this other person in your situation at the same time. I don't know, that's a mouthful, but I think the communication and what the human is developing in terms of their communication skills is really, really key here.
So what happens, when the AI surpasses the humans in its ability to be human-like?
I thought of what that might look like here. Would it not be, you'd like me to rewrite this memo? Dear user, have you thought about going and having a conversation with this person? It seems like it's delicate enough, tense enough that you ought to go talk, right? Like that would be advanced AI to me.
Yeah. It's like, I believe that the approach you're asking me to take on your behalf is not the best approach.
Right.
Here are some suggested alternatives.
Right.
And
right.
yeah, I figured in about 2 months we'll be there.
Yeah.
It'll figure that out.
You are so pro ChatGPT, I tell you.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, yeah. It's like Agent Smith. When he looks at Neo and says, "You hear that? That's inevitability." That's, you can't stop it. The machines are going to take over. You're a little speed bump on the way to total world domination. And one writer writes that, Andrew writes, don't worry, in 4 years' time, AI will have replaced Karen in accounting.
Yeah.
The invoices will be processed in one day, and the AI will be able to scan, read, categorize, account, put it in it'll do all this stuff. There won't be a human, and the machine won't care if you turn it in a minute before the deadline or 2 weeks before the deadline. It won't care.
I think that, unfortunately, in some ways is 100% correct. I think, all of these tasks, even some problem solving tasks, AI is going to be able to handle that for us faster than a human would. So we better be doing some things that only humans can do.
Well, and one of the laments of some people I talk to now is their disappointment in their human relationships. So they'll share a win or something they're very proud of with another human, and the other human will go, "That's nice. I went on vacation." Yep. There's this real lack of exchange and empathy and interest, curiosity from the part of the people that other people are dealing with, and these are people that they would consider friends or colleagues and things like that. So if humans are struggling this and the AI gets good at it, you went on vacation. Well, what was that like? What was your favorite part? What'd you learn about yourself on that trip? You'd be like, I'm glad you asked, artificial intelligence overlord friend. Yeah, now we're having a
agree. I very much agree with the first point. I very much disagree with the second point. We are becoming, through technology, very expectant of how we are treated. And if you would like another example to go along with your, one about, bragging about something you did and not getting much reaction from the other person, ask your local marriage and family therapist how often pornography is wrapped up in the folks that are sitting in front of them. She won't do the kind of things that I saw over here being done. She won't let me use her that way. That's a thing that's happening in our society that we're not talking about much. But this kind of technology, setting our bars high in unrealistic ways is happening. Has been happening for decades, frankly, and now it's happening with AI in a lot of ways. Now, again, I have never once said, man, AI really gets me and cares about me. So I don't think they're going to be able to supplant humans in that, and that's the issue. That's care, right? That's a human being choosing to care. We've talked about that before, I know, but
right. But if the people you associate with are terrible at this, but the machine that you interact with is good at it,
yes,
yeah, you're going to start leaning towards the machine.
You are. I'm just not saying that's a good thing.
No. I'm not saying it's good at all. But yeah, you can definitely see where, I've got this need, this gap, this void, and the machine's filling it and be like, hey, good buddy machine, what'd you do today?
Well,
now the machine says, well, I didn't do a whole lot. Tell me about your day. Wow. Yeah. I had lunch with the boss and we talked about this. Yeah. Like that's not good.
I'm picturing the Japanese single men who are sleeping with full body pillows that are shaped like and designed like an anime, heroine. Not a good thing. Not a good thing.
Oh yeah.
But maybe we've been trying to make these episodes shorter. We always go on rabbit trails here, Mike. But I think that we're still talking about the same thing, and maybe it's a good wrap up point that Karen from accounting will be replaced. The jobs like that will be replaced. What cannot be replaced is the human being who cares and contributes to that team in a way that only a human being can. So you better start showing empathy. You better start leaning into the human soft skills. And man, if you have a team struggling with that, please get in touch with us, because that's the kind of stuff we love to help you do.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And if the machine can help you to present how you feel better.
Sure.
Say I'm very grateful for somebody who did something for me. I want to write a nice thank you note. So I put the prompt in the AI and it spits out this wonderful, thank you note that definitely communicates what it is that I'm feeling, and I send it. So
yes.
So now the tool is augmenting my humanity and save me a little bit of time.
Yes, and until you get the neural jack that allows that to happen in real time, you're still going to want to work on how you present yourself in communication to other people live. And that's something, again, we would love to help you and your team do that. So I'll shut up.
Oh, no, good stuff. Yeah, definitely some, it's interesting. It was such a simple little post, and yet it evolved into this discussion of humanity and the direction of our future.
Best thing for us to be talking about.
Yeah. So that in itself was a good thing. The conversation that it sparked. So hopefully you'll have these same conversations with your coworkers. You can hit subscribe, share, hit the notification bell, and let's see what your friends think about that, and maybe have a human interaction with them on this topic. It could be cool.
I like it.
Speaking of human interactions, there's our warm-blooded announcer and a good supporter of the podcast, Mr. John Wolf. Take it away, Mr. Wolf.
So go ahead and tweet that, or share it any other way you want. As always, there are no rights reserved, no trademarks, no copyrights. Share it if you want to. And join us next time on It Doesn't Take a Genius.
That's good enough.